Hello, this is the TradeSight U.S. stock market and futures preview and economic domestic data roadmap for the week beginning Monday, August 19th, 2013, and ending on the 23rd. Hope you're having a good trading week or had one. And we'll be looking at some of the indices here, doing some general market analysis, take a look at what happened this last week, and then we'll take a look at the economic data that's due this next week and kind of get an idea of what types of things we should expect in the trading week ahead. Charts here, as usual, brought to you by eSignal 11. Here's a look at the daily chart, as we always start out, of the S&P 500 cash index. Here's the trend line that we watched for a long time. We had broken it, we had retested it, we had clung to it. Got 11 out of 13 bars towards a secret sell signal. Was hoping to get that signal this week, but instead starting to kind of fulfill the general technicals of breaking the trend line, retesting it, and rolling over. This does not look positive for the short term of the market. Not that this has to lead to some sort of major catastrophic plunge, but certainly from a technical perspective, things do look lower on this. So let's also take a look at the Nasdaq 100. This one did give us a 13 sell signal 2 weeks ago now, and you can see that the pink risk line from that was not even close to violated. Essentially, the 13 is the high close of the period here, and now we've gapped down on Thursday and held that on Friday. Pretty negative. Remember, we had options expiration this week, so Friday didn't do much, as you usually would expect it would not. Here's the SOX. This is the semiconductor index, gap down on Thursday as well, looking to potentially undercut several months of trading action. Here's the biotechs, the old expression, as banks and biotechs go, so goes the market. One thing I can point out here is that we're now, there's the sound alert for it, 9 bars down on our setup phase, so that sometimes leads to a pause, but it's just on this index, and in general the biotechs are pretty negative here. So nothing looking too positive for the bulls here in the market. And take a look at oil as well. We're still in that time of year, hurricane season, and just the heat of summer, prices tend to be higher. Oil up at 107.45, and then also take a look at what we got out of gold this week, which is a little breakout of this pattern we've been watching. Some of our favorite trading stocks. I'll show you another deal on Apple. Apple had a good week after the announcement last Sunday that they were going to be announcing the next iPhone and whatever else they're going to release on September 10th. So they had a positive week from that news, getting back above 500, breaking out of this whole range here. Google hanging near the lows of its last few months range. Obviously, more of the attention on Apple there right now. Take a look at Netflix. We had some nice trades in Netflix this week. Really been flat overall. Here's a look at Amazon as well, another big trader for us. This did pull back. I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I thought this might come back and test this breakout area, which we're doing right now at that 284, 285 area. So we'll see how it holds that general space. I also want to throw in real quick the fact that this Apple 30-minute chart, because a couple weeks ago there was a 13 sell signal on Apple right here, and you can see how it retested or tested the risk line of that move and immediately failed. We got a great call out of it. I made a YouTube video about that call. Sort of worked off the energy of that move and now eventually broke through it. And what's interesting is we got another 13 sell signal here, and we're using the risk line of that. So even though Apple had a nice week, the sell signal sort of been the top so far and may prevent it from going higher very easily. All right, so let's take a look at the intra-week data. Take a look at the futures here. These are the Nasdaq 100 futures. And again, you can see this includes last Friday's action, then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week. So we closed out last Friday around 31.15, closed out here around 30.70. So we lost about 45 points, but a huge chunk of it, about 25 of the 45 points, is right here on this gap Thursday on the economic data. Otherwise, what you saw this week was Monday was flat. We've been seeing Mondays flat this summer. Tuesday had some decent range. Wednesday was options unraveling, it looks like on paper, as we did get sort of a move down after the first hour, which is when that usually happens. And we kept that direction. Volume held up a little longer than usual. Thursday, the gap down, and then fairly flat after that, leading into, especially in the afternoon. We're just not seeing much in the afternoons right now. That's typical for summer. And then Friday, options expiration itself didn't really go anywhere. Here's the S&P 500, even flatter on Monday. Tuesday had a little move and flat in the afternoon. Wednesday was the options unraveling. Still didn't get up as much, very narrow range. If you look at just this first part of the week, you're basically in a 12-point range for 3 days on the S&P. Then you get the gap down here that takes you under all that. You lose another 12 points on that opening. And then flat Thursday after that. Here's Friday's action and closed a little bit negative on Friday. So for the week on the S&P or the E-mini futures anyways, 1686 down to 1651. So about 35 points, we'll call it, of loss for the week on the S&P. Now, what do we have coming up this week? What are the things that we can focus on? Because that's always something we like to deal with here coming into the week. Here's a look at the economic calendar from briefing. And you can see, first of all, there's very little data, okay, coming out this week. So we're still in August. It's a good. I like it as a trading month, but more for just some standard picks, not for overextending ourselves or over trading, because the volume is really off in the market. We averaged about 1.4 billion shares on the Nasdaq this week. It's not heavy at all. There's no economic data Monday. There's no economic data Tuesday. Wednesday, we've got the MBA mortgage index, existing home sales, and crude oil inventories, the release of the minutes from the last Fed meeting, none of which is huge for the stock market. Thursday, the weekly initial and continuing jobless claims, not a big deal. The FA housing price index, not a big deal. Leading indicators can move the market if it beats or misses by a lot. Natty gas number on Thursday. And then Friday, the new home sales by itself, not a big deal. So no major data this week. Nothing about trade balance. Nothing about the unemployment rate or the non-farm payrolls. Nothing about the CPI or PPI. No Fed announcement. No GDP number. It is a straightforward trading week. We are not in core earnings season at all. So what do we really focus on this week? Again, typical summer week. Monday probably going to be slow, especially considering Friday was options expiration, the first day of a new options cycle, usually slow. Friday will probably be a little slow. If there's excitement in the week, it's going to be those middle days, probably Wednesday and Thursday, more than Tuesday even. So we'll be watching volume to see if there's any pickup. And then don't forget, we got one more week. Next week is the end of August already. We close out next week on Friday. When we close out the week, it's going to be August 30th, and that'll be the last trading day of the week. And that's leading into the Labor Day weekend. Labor Day is early this year on September 2nd. So next Friday, a week from this coming Friday, is going to be end of month window dressing as people head out the door for Labor Day. It's going to be really, really dead that Friday. And then we'll be back from Labor Day. Most people, kids are back in school, vacations are over, volume starts to pick up again in September, and then leading to the better 6 months of trading for the year, which is October through April. But this week, hard to say. Hopefully there's a little more pickup in volume. We can just get some straightforward trading. We're not going to have the news except for the global situation going on globally around the world, in Egypt in particular. Not going to have much else to push us around. So hopefully there's just some standard straight up trading, and it can be clean without some of the professional shorters out there. Maybe we're going to be heading down lower, it looks like, based on the charts. That's it. We'll be calling it from the in the room and on our reports as usual. Hope to see you there. Have a great week and weekend.